Nobody recruited you. There was no job posting, no career fair booth, no LinkedIn message. One day, someone you vaguely remember from graduate school invited you to coffee. The conversation felt normal. 3 months later, a different person called with a different name and asked if you'd be interested in government work. They never said which agency. They didn't have to. Now you are sitting in a hotel conference room in Northern Virginia, facing two people who have not given you their real names. They are intelligence officers with the Central Intelligence Agency, and they are deciding whether you are suitable for clandestine service. You applied 7 months ago through a website. You filled out a questionnaire. You listed every foreign contact you've ever had, every country you've ever visited, every drug you've ever tried. You do not know how many applicants are in the pipeline. You do know that the acceptance rate is lower than the Ivy League. The interview lasts 4 hours. They ask about your language skills. You speak Mandarin, which you studied for 6 years. They ask about your ability to maintain cover. Can you be someone else consistently under pressure for years at a time? They ask about your ethics, not whether you have them, but how flexible they are. They describe scenarios. You are told to recruit a foreign official by exploiting his gambling addiction. His family will suffer. Do you proceed? The correct answer is not yes or no. The correct answer demonstrates that you understand the moral complexity and can function within it. The polygraph examination takes 6 hours. Electrodes on your fingers, a blood pressure cuff on your arm, pneumograph tubes around your chest and abdomen. The examiner asks baseline questions, then targeted questions about your loyalty, your honesty, your associations, your vulnerabilities. The machine measures galvanic skin response, cardiovascular activity, and respiratory patterns. It does not detect lies. It detects physiological stress associated with deception. You are told that it is extremely accurate. You are not told that this is debatable. You pass. You are offered a position as a clandestine service trainee. You resign from your job at a consulting firm. You tell your friends and family you are going to work at the State Department. This is the first lie. It will not be the last. You arrive at the farm, Camp Peary, a 9,000-acre facility in eastern Virginia disguised as a military reservation. For 18 months, you will learn the tradecraft of human intelligence, human, the oldest form of espionage. You learn to spot, assess, develop, and recruit. This is the intelligence cycle reduced to 4 human verbs. You identify a potential source, someone with access to the information you need. You assess their vulnerabilities, motivations, and personality. You develop a relationship, slowly, carefully, over weeks or months. Then you make the pitch, the moment when you ask a foreign national to betray their country, their oath, and their identity, and to do so for you. You practice on role players, retired CIA officers and professional actors who play foreign targets with the full range of human complexity. You meet them in restaurants, at embassy parties, at conferences. You rehearse your cover story. You are a State Department political officer. You discuss your cover's interests, your cover's background, your cover's opinions. You become the cover until the seams are invisible. Surveillance detection routes, SDRs. You learn to walk a route through a city designed to reveal whether you are being followed. The route includes multiple turns, stops, reversals, and natural pauses, visiting a shop, sitting at a cafe, crossing a park, that force any surveillance team to expose themselves. You practice SDRs in multiple American cities. You learn to feel surveillance, a prickling awareness that registers the same person appearing at the wrong intervals, the same car making the wrong turns. You learn dead drops, concealed locations where you leave materials for a source or receive materials from them, a hollow rock in a park, a magnetic case behind a mailbox, a waterproofed package in a drainage pipe. You learn covert communication, encrypted radio bursts, coded messages in commercial websites, and short-range agent communication devices that transmit data over a distance of 50 meters and leave no electronic footprint. You learn that intelligence is not about secrets. It is about people. The machine is irrelevant. The person inside the machine is everything. Your first overseas posting. You are assigned to a CIA station in a major Asian capital under diplomatic cover. You are listed on the embassy roster as a political officer. Your cover work is real. You attend diplomatic functions, write analytical cables, and meet with host nation officials as part of the embassy's political section. But your real work begins when you leave the embassy. You are tasked with recruiting a source in the host nation's defense ministry, a mid-level official with access to military procurement decisions and defense technology programs. You identify the target from a classified intelligence requirement. You engineer a meeting at a think tank reception. You introduce yourself as a diplomat interested in regional security. He is interested in the United States' position on a territorial dispute. You discuss it. You exchange business cards. You meet again the following week, and again the week after. Over 4 months, you develop a relationship. You learn his motivations. He is frustrated with corruption in his organization. He feels his talent is undervalued, and he has a child who needs medical treatment that is not available domestically. You do not exploit these vulnerabilities. You address them. You offer to help his child access medical care through a legitimate channel. He is grateful. The gratitude becomes trust. The trust becomes access. The pitch comes on a Tuesday evening in a private room at a restaurant you have booked under a false name. You tell him who you really are. You ask him to provide information to the United States government. You explain the risks. You explain the protections. You explain the compensation. He is silent for 90 seconds. Then he says yes. You have just recruited a spy. His reporting will shape American foreign policy in the region for the next 3 years. Nobody outside the CIA will ever know his name or yours. 3 years at station. You are running 4 recruited sources' assets simultaneously. Each one requires separate communication channels, separate meeting protocols, separate legend maintenance. You compartmentalize obsessively. No source knows about any other source. No colleague knows the details of your operations beyond what is necessary, and your cover work continues uninterrupted so that the host nation's counterintelligence service has no reason to suspect you. You are being followed. The host nation's intelligence service has placed you under periodic surveillance, standard practice for diplomats from certain countries. You run SDRs before every meeting. You detect surveillance on average twice a month. When you detect it, you abort the meeting and execute a pre-planned cover stop, a legitimate activity that explains your route, such as visiting a bookstore or meeting a contact for your diplomatic cover work. One of your assets is compromised. You receive a signal, a prearranged indicator that tells you the asset is under suspicion by his own government. You execute the exfiltration plan, a safe house, a forged travel document, and a route out of the country through a third nation's border crossing. The asset and his family are out of the country within 36 hours. They are resettled under new identities. You will never see them again. You sit in a cafe the next morning, drinking coffee, reading a newspaper, maintaining your cover. The host nation's intelligence service increases surveillance on the embassy. They suspect something happened but cannot prove what. You continue your diplomatic routine for 4 more months until your tour ends and you are rotated home. You are assigned to work a denied area, a country where CIA operations are conducted without the benefit of an embassy, diplomatic cover, or any official American presence. You enter the country under a non-official cover, NOC pronounced knock, using a commercial identity. You are a business consultant. You have business cards, a LinkedIn profile, a corporate email address, and a company website. None of it is real. If you are caught, the United States government will deny knowledge of your activities. You do not have diplomatic immunity. You will be prosecuted under the host nation's espionage laws, which can carry sentences ranging from 20 years to death. You carry no identification that links you to the CIA, the U.S. government, or any intelligence organization. You operate alone. No station support, no embassy to retreat to. Your communication with headquarters is through encrypted satellite burst transmissions that you send from a device concealed inside a commercial laptop. Each transmission is compressed, encrypted, and sent in a burst lasting 0.4 seconds, too brief for any signals intelligence system to locate, decrypt, and act upon. You recruit a source in a sensitive government position over 8 months of careful, meticulous relationship building. Sources reporting provides the United States with advanced knowledge of a military action that would have destabilized an entire region. The intelligence reaches the president's desk. The military action is diplomatically averted. You never learn how the information was used. You are not told. You do not ask. You leave the country 6 weeks later through a land border, using a passport with a name that will never be used again. You arrive home and debrief for 3 weeks. Then you sleep for 2 days. You are the chief of station, the senior CIA officer in a country. You run all human intelligence operations in the country and coordinate with the ambassador, the military attaché, and the host nation's intelligence service, when that relationship exists. In some countries, the host nation's intelligence service is your partner. In others, it is your adversary. In several, it is both. You manage 15 case officers, a technical operations team, a report staff, and a counterintelligence officer whose job is to ensure that none of your operations have been compromised by the other side. You hold a meeting every morning at 7, the intelligence brief, where you review overnight cable traffic, task collection priorities, and assess threats to your people. A crisis. A source who has been providing intelligence for 6 years sends a danger signal. This could mean he is under suspicion, under arrest, or already compromised. You activate the emergency protocol. Your best case officer makes contact through a backup channel. The source is alive but believes his communications have been intercepted. You authorize an emergency exfiltration, a complex operation involving safe houses, disguises, multiple border crossings, and coordination with stations in 2 neighboring countries. The source is extracted. His family is not. They were detained before the operation could include them. You file a cable to headquarters requesting diplomatic intervention. The intervention takes 6 weeks. During those 6 weeks, you do not sleep well. The source does not sleep at all. His family is eventually released and resettled. You carry the weight of this for the rest of your career. The 6 weeks, the family, the decisions you made and the ones you didn't make fast enough. You transfer to the Counterintelligence Center at headquarters, Langley, Virginia. Your job is now the inverse of everything you've done. Instead of recruiting spies, you are hunting them. Specifically, you are hunting moles, CIA officers, or intelligence community employees who have been recruited by foreign intelligence services to betray the United States. The work is forensic. You review cable traffic, personnel files, travel records, financial disclosures, and operational histories looking for anomalies. A case officer whose operations fail at a statistically improbable rate. A reports officer who accesses files outside their operational scope. An analyst whose lifestyle exceeds their government salary. You identify a suspect. A senior officer with 22 years of service, 3 overseas tour, and an unblemished record. The anomaly: 2 of his assets were arrested within 6 months of being recruited. Both arrests bore the hallmarks of advanced knowledge. The host nation's service knew exactly when and where to make the arrest. You investigate for 14 months. You examine his communications, his finances, his travel, and his personal relationships. You find a bank account in a third country containing deposits that are consistent with payments from a foreign intelligence service. He is arrested in the parking lot at Langley. He does not resist. He does not confess. He says one thing: "I want a lawyer." You watch from the observation room as the FBI conducts the interview. You have spent 14 months inside this man's life. You know his schedule, his habits, his favorite restaurants, and his children's names. You have read his performance evaluations, which describe him as exceptionally talented and deeply loyal. The loyalty was to someone else. You run a geographic division, all CIA operations in a region of the world, 12 stations, 120 case officers, thousands of sources. The intelligence your division produces influences presidential decisions, military operations, and diplomatic negotiations across multiple countries. The work at this level is strategic. You do not recruit individual sources. You design intelligence campaigns, multi-year efforts to penetrate a specific target, a foreign government's nuclear weapons program, a terrorist network's leadership structure, a hostile intelligence service's operational plans. Each campaign requires coordination across stations, divisions, and partner services. You brief the director of the CIA. You brief the National Security Council. You sit in rooms where decisions are made that will shape the world, and you provide the intelligence on which those decisions are based. The weight of accuracy is total. If your intelligence is wrong, if a source has been doubled by the adversary, if the reporting has been fabricated, if the analysis has been distorted by confirmation bias, the consequences are measured in lives, not in performance reports. A covert action program. You are tasked with supporting an opposition movement in a country whose government is committing mass atrocities. The support is authorized by a presidential finding, a classified document that authorizes covert activities. You design the program, funding, training, communications equipment, and logistical support for an opposition that is poorly organized, badly led, and operating in conditions that make secure communication almost impossible. The program succeeds partially. The opposition survives. The atrocities are documented. International pressure builds. The government negotiates. But 14 of the opposition members you supported are killed. Their names are in a file on your desk. You read the file once. You close it. It stays in your drawer. You are a senior intelligence service officer, the CIA's equivalent of a general. You have held every operational position: case officer, chief of station, division chief, and now a deputy director position that places you in the senior leadership of the agency. You appear before the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. The hearing is classified. You brief the senators on operations that are so sensitive that the briefing takes place in a secure facility and all electronic devices are removed. You describe successes and failures with equal candor because the committee has oversight authority and because you believe, after 28 years, that accountability is the only thing that keeps a secret organization from becoming a dangerous one. A crisis that dominates your attention for months. A terrorist organization has acquired materials that could be used to construct a weapon of mass destruction. The intelligence is from a single source, and single-source intelligence is the most dangerous kind because it cannot be independently verified. You recommend action based on the source's established reliability. The action is taken. The materials are interdicted. The threat is neutralized. Later, analysis reveals that the source's reporting on the scope of the threat was exaggerated, not fabricated, but amplified in ways that made the threat appear more imminent than it was. Action was still justified, but the basis was imprecise. You write a lessons learned assessment. It is read by 12 people. You carry the nuance yourself. You are 57 years old, 31 years in the Central Intelligence Agency. You have served in 11 countries. You have recruited dozens of sources. You have run operations that shaped the foreign policy of the most powerful nation on earth. Nobody knows. Your retirement is quiet. There is no press release. There is no public ceremony. There is a small gathering in a conference room at headquarters where a senior official says things about you that are classified, and a few colleagues who know what you actually did shake your hand and say words that carry weight only because they understand what those words cost. You have a cover that you have maintained for 31 years. Your neighbors believe you work for the State Department. Your college friends believe you are a foreign affairs advisor. Your in-laws believe you have a boring government job. Your children, who are now adults, were told the truth when they turned 18. Your son said, "I always knew." Your daughter said, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" You said, "Because knowledge is a burden and I wanted you to have a childhood without it." You sit in a chair at your home in Virginia. The house is on a quiet street. The yard is well kept. Nothing about this house, this street, this life suggests anything unusual. That is the point. You think about the people, not the operations, the people. The source in Asia who risked his life because he believed in something larger than himself. The source in the denied area who was extracted at the last possible moment. The families who were separated. The colleagues who gave their best years to work that will never be acknowledged. The 14 names in the file. You think about the stars on the wall at Langley, 140 anonymous stars carved into white marble, each one representing a CIA officer who died in service. Some of the stars have names in the book below, many do not. The names are still classified. Some will remain classified forever. You look at the yard. The grass needs cutting. The sun is setting. The street is quiet. You are no one. You have always been no one. That was the requirement. You close your eyes. The ghosts are quiet tonight. They are not always quiet.